Dear coaches, when you think of the word suicide, what do you think of? Do you even think about it? Is it even on your radar? Do you even realize that suicide is the most common cause of death among college students? There's thorough documentation of the mental health crisis across the general population of young people, especially college students. 1 in 5 college students will have thoughts of suicide, with 9% acting on them and 20% injuring themselves. Studies in the past have shown that college athletes do have a lower rate of suicide than the general population. However, there's no data showing the rate in the past several years, especially when considering the impact that COVID-19 has had on athletics. In 2015, it was found that 35 college athletes committed suicide in the span of 9 years, less than 4 per year. In the first 4 months of 2022 alone, we've already surpassed that average. Katie Meyer, Jaden Hill, Robert Martin, Sarah Schultz, Lauren Burnett, these are the names of 5 college athletes who committed suicide with a 2-month time span in the spring of just this year. So this is my question to you, coaches. Would you have recognized the signs? Would you have been able to reach these athletes in time if they were yours? Recent research has found that coaches have a good knowledge of depression, given that most are without formal training or education, but most coaches will lack awareness of what depression actually looks like in the real world within their athletes. In fact, the majority of coaches within a study of 253 coaches in the NCAA Division I organization were only aware of their athletes having depression or suicidal ideation through the athlete coming forth and reporting it to them. This is good news for the athletes who feel comfortable coming forth to their coaches. But for those who don't, they're falling through the cracks. And I understand that it's very hard to see the signs and symptoms in the whirlwind of the sport and the whirlwind of life. For example, what might look like mental toughness and grit might actually be mental agony, because individuals with suicidal ideation have a higher tolerance for pain than their peers and their teammates. Suicide attempters reported higher levels of exercising despite physical pain or mental conflict or injury, reductions in social activity, and lack of control due to exercise than those who had not attempted suicide. So it might look like focus, it might look like grit, it might look like your athlete is perfectly fine from the outside, but if you take the time to know them and know the nature of suicidal ideation, you'll know. You'll have to know. You see, the nature of illness is that the individual tends to stop seeking help or support once they reach a certain level of severity. It's up to you to see them, really, truly see them. I was lucky enough that my coach knew well enough that I was in trouble long before crisis hit. I'm a college student who has been competing in the sport of cross country and track and field for the past 9 years. And 5 of my 9 years participating in these sports have been spent simultaneously battling against mental illnesses, where the war between brain and body has left me hanging by a thread on more than one occurrence. Regardless of all the ups and downs athletically and in life, I've managed to thrive with the help of an amazing support system, a good treatment team, the help of my coaches, my teammates. My current coach has been aware of my mental condition, and we've built a pretty strong relationship where I feel safe coming to him for support. But sometimes, regardless of how hard you work to manage them, the symptoms of mental illness can still creep up on you. The impending conference meet met frustrations in athletic performance, which met frustrations in weight and body image, which met frustrations and stress from graduate school applications, which met despair from social relationships, which met a major chemical imbalance. In late October of this year, Emily Kern was nearly one of the names on the list of 6 college athletes who had successfully committed suicide in 2022. I don't remember much of that night, but I do know that without my coach, I wouldn't be alive right now. And I recognize that I am incredibly blessed to have this relationship with my teammates and coaches, but there are way too many athletes who do not. In the research I've done and in speaking with coaches here at my own college, there are absolutely no requirements for mental health training within applicants seeking to become college coaches in the NCAA. In order to become a coach, you need athletic experience, perhaps some sort of degree or diploma, a certification for recruitment of college athletes, but that's it. There's no formal training as a requirement for becoming a coach. Coaches and officials in the NCAA need to take the initiative to better themselves and become aware of the dangers and prevalence that the threat of suicide in college athletes plays. Katie Meyer, Jaden Hill, Robert Martin, Sarah Schultz, Lauren Burnett. Emily Kern is not on that list. My name is not on that list because I'm a survivor, and as a multiple-time survivor of suicide who's constantly working to heal and become educated on the sake of my recovery, for the sake of my sport, the sake of my team, my future, my friends and my family, I think it's only fair that I request you coaches, as our trusted coaches and NCAA officials, to do the same for us. You coach us through the ups and downs of the sport. You teach us how to function on the field and in the classroom. It's time that you, as officials and coaches in the NCAA, put in as much time into studying and playing as you do, studying mental health and recognizing the signs and symptoms of distress before it's too late. Mental toughness might win you the games, but mental illness kills. Say the word, suicide. Say it, know the signs, know your symptoms, know your athletes, know more. Sincerely, Emily Kern.